Hi everybody. I want to share a short Devar Torah with you as we head into this Shabbat, which we call Shabbat Shirah, because it is the Shabbat when we read in the Torah, in Parshat Bishalach, we read the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, that Moses and the other Israelites sing when they come to the other side of the Yam Suf, of the Red Sea or the Reed Sea that God has parted. And this song, we celebrate it on this Shabbat because we read it in our Torah, but this song is so important in Jewish theology, Jewish ideology, that it actually becomes part of our liturgy. Every morning in Shacharit, we sing Az Yashir Moshe Uvenei Yisrael, and it actually becomes part of our liturgy every evening. Just that part, Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nadav HaKodesh, that comes in the evening in the Ma'ariv service as well. So this is when it comes up in our Torah, but we get to hear these words from Shirat Hayam all the time. But I want to talk about a moment actually just after the Song of the Sea in the Torah. So after the Israelites pass through the parted sea, and after Moses leads the Israelites in a song of praise, the music continues. And we come to verse 20 in chapter 15 of Exodus, which reads, Miriam, the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all of the women went out after her in dance with the timbrels. So Miriam gets a moment here. Miriam has already played an important role in this burgeoning story of the nation of Israel. You might remember that it was Miriam who helped set the infant Moses in a basket on the Nile. Well, actually, she watched the basket as it went down the Nile and made sure that Moses was safe from Pharaoh's decree. And it was Miriam that made sure that their mother, Yocheved, would be the one to come back into relationship with Moses and to help raise him. But this is the first time in the Torah that Miriam gets a name. This is the first time that she's named in the verse. So that already tells us to pay some slightly different attention to how she appears in this story. And indeed, the fact that Miriam was ready with these timbrels, these musical instruments at this moment, this raised a question in the minds of our commentators on this text. So remember, the Israelites were leaving Egypt in haste. They were running for their lives from Pharaoh and from his army and his chariots. So how, all of a sudden, did Miriam on the other side and all of the other women have musical instruments at the ready to go to lead some singing and dancing? The logical explanation is that the women must have brought the instruments with them, which then leads us to understand that the women left Egypt believing that they would have the chance, the opportunity to use these instruments. They had a moment of forethought. And I'll share with you the comment from the medieval commentator Rashi. So Rashi quotes a midrash to this effect from the Mechilta de Rabbi Yishmael. And the midrash reads, Muvtachot hayot tzadkaniot, that they were certain, they were confident, these women, and they were righteous. Tzadkaniot shebadur, they were righteous in their generation. Shekadosh Baruch Hu oseh lahem nisim v'hotziu tupim mimitzrayim. They were confident that God would make these miracles for them, and so they brought tupim, they brought these instruments with them from Egypt. So despite how things might have looked at the time, they had faith that there would be music and dancing on the other side. And I mentioned before that this is the first verse where Miriam gets her name. It's also the first verse that refers to Miriam as Neviah, as prophetess. And the Torah does not explain really here what it means that she's a prophetess, but I think it's significant that she gets that title, she gets that honorific in this moment that we see her and the other women demonstrate really this gift of prophecy, that they knew, they had faith, they had confidence that God would deliver them, and that's what motivated them to bring these instruments with them. And as someone who is an arts person, an arts fan, someone with a background in arts and in music and in theater, I know many of you do as well. I love the story even more because it tells us that one of the things we need to carry with us is our love of creativity and our love of song and our love of joy and our love of dancing. That's important to bring with us as well on the journey. Even if it's a journey that's made in haste, even if probably there are other things that might be more important to carry with us, we're going to need music on the other side of whatever this is. We're going to need dancing. We're going to need joy. And it makes me think that one of our important roles in life is to, they call the Midrash says that Miriam and the other women are tzadkaniot shebador. They're righteous in their generation. So I think one of our important roles is to instill in one another and instill in the next generation that same confidence, that same faith that Miriam has. We want to be able to face challenges, but, I think about my own kid. I want him to be able to confront challenges in life, but I also hope that he anticipates and looks forward to joyful times as well. And I think what a blessing it would be for my kid, for our kids, for all of the young people in our lives and in our families, to carry metaphorical or maybe actual timbrels with them throughout their life, ready for the dancing that they know is coming. So this Shabbat, in addition to being Shabbat Shirah, as I mentioned, this Shabbat also goes into Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, and it also goes into Sunday, Monday, I think maybe Monday, Tuesday, is the holiday of Tu B'Shvat. And both of those occasions are opportunities for us to think about the future with hope, to think about rebirth, rebuilding, healing, to think about joy and celebration in the future. So I hope that you can take this little midrash, this little story about Miriam and the timbrels with you into the Shabbat and beyond, into Tu B'Shvat and into MLK Day. And I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, and I look forward to seeing you soon.